Well, bless your heart. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. Now, it's Rod Pedersen.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And we've been doing it for, 4 years now? It's our annual World Juniors special, and hence the Team Canada duds. And joining me to break down this 2023 World Juniors, which is, of course, being played in Halifax and Moncton this year, Darren Moose Dupont, our normal co-host, the president CEO of the RP Show Corporation. And Moose, it is the most wonderful time of the year, and I don't know how many times I've said it. You've heard me say it many times. The highest ratings this show has ever had was during this summer's World Juniors in Edmonton in August. Like, it's one thing to say Christmas time World Juniors, I would kind of get it. But summertime World Juniors, what it tells me is Canadians and our viewers and listeners love the World Junior Hockey Championship. And forgive me for saying, but I think this would be the best preview that they're going to watch anywhere, an analysis. But are you blown away by the love for the World Juniors as much as I am?
Yeah, I wasn't sure it was going to stick in the summer, to be honest. August, hockey, summertime. I didn't think that was going to be a fit. But there's something special about the World Juniors, man. And it doesn't matter when it is. They're still going to pay attention. And we still want to watch. But this is when it's supposed to be. Christmas time, this is when it's supposed to happen, and this feels right.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. A little later on, Serena Taylor will join us. That's when we introduced her to our viewers, was last summer at the World Juniors. And we'll walk down memory lane a little bit with that tournament when she comes on. Dupe's with us here now. Rob Vanstone coming up. Peter Loubardias coming up, speaking of old school Regina reporters. And Sam Cosentino from Rogers Sportsnet coming up. But listen, man, I want to get into it. And you had not warned me, but sort of prefaced me about this file that our intern, Stephen Lillick, has put together. I have some thoughts on it. Can you tell our viewers what this kid from the University of Regina journalism program did? Like, all I want to do is sit here and read it. I could read it on the air, and people would just be spellbound for 2 hours. This is unbelievable, man.
You could, but it would take you 2 hours. It's a 29-page encyclopedia of the World Juniors. I almost feel like you need to copy and paste this and publish it at rodpeterson.com maybe, because it is very, very thorough. We go through storylines, player storylines, draft prospects. He goes through rosters and pulled the elite prospects profiles for every player on every team. Like, it is so in-depth that I read this and came away from it as a World Junior expert, okay? So, bravo. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
As will our viewers and listeners. And so here's the thing. Bravo, Stephen Lillick. I was going to put that out there. Graduating University of Regina journalism program. If he applies to you TV, radio stations, or newspapers, hire the kid. He's unbelievable. But just off the top of my head, Darren, here are some storylines, and you've seen it. Officially to be played in Moncton and Halifax. This tournament moved from Russia due to the Ukraine invasion. I'm not sure that I knew that. Regina made a bid for this in Saskatoon, but was rejected in favor of this Nova Scotia bid. And I've been to the facilities in Nova Scotia. They're amazing. And New Brunswick, so I get it. It's the 20th anniversary of Halifax hosting it for the last time, 2003. Group A in Halifax is Canada, Sweden, the Czechs, Germany, and Austria. Group B will play in Moncton, the beautiful facility right on the main street of Moncton, home of the Wildcats. Features USA, Finland, Switzerland, Slovakia, and Latvia. And the head coach of Team Canada comes from the Everett Silvertips, Dennis Williams. Canada looks to defend its title after winning the uniquely timed August tournament last year. And that was the first tournament since 1920. This is the first tournament outside of Edmonton, this one upcoming here. Third straight tournament in Canada. So, there's a lot right there. Out of that, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You see that the storylines that you brought up with the tournament being moved over. No Russia in this tournament makes it kind of interesting again. So Matvei Michkov doesn't have the opportunity to play against Fantilli and Connor Bedard and try and cement his place as a top prospect in the draft. So that's a big storyline. So it becomes, who do you look at? Finland, Sweden, the United States, and, Slovakia with their high draft picks get a chance to compete now and contend a little bit. It's a little bit wide open, and I think it's going to be fun.
You're reading our diary, Darren, as we move into individual player storylines, and I feel dirty and guilty that this kid did all the work. I'm just sitting here reading it. Is that how it works in the big time? I kind of think it does. Connor Bedard versus Adam Fantilli. Connor Bedard is already a household name. And one thing we've learned, and what's different since the last time we did shows like this, is we're now on the radio in the state of Georgia on WQEE radio. They're following Connor Bedard down there. Now, they got minor pro hockey teams down there, so there are hockey fans, and they know that Connor Bedard will be the number 1 overall pick this summer. But this guy just came onto my radar, Adam Fantilli, and from Steven's file, it says, enough said, Bedard versus Fantilli. These two Canadian studs will be showing up and showing out and may potentially be on the second line together with the arrival of Shane Wright and Dylan Guenther to camp. Shane Wright, of course, didn't play in the summertime. 4th overall pick of the Montreal Canadiens last summer. He was supposed to go 1st overall from the Kingston Frontenac. Slipped to 4th with Seattle. Everything happens for a reason. Dylan Guenther has been returned by the Arizona Coyotes, and that gives them a lot of firepower up front. My question to you, after reading all that, and that's just one point of the individual storylines, is this about who plays better individually or who wins the medal? I'm starting to wonder.
I know, right? It's going to be about the medal. That's what we all want for Canada. At the end of the day, we love the names and the individual stuff, but it's about winning gold and being in that gold medal game when we get to, early January. So the individual stuff's fun to talk about. And Fantilli, he's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit, more of a physical body than Bedard is, but Bedard's got all those skills. That's going to be fun. They're going to play together. So forget about versus each other. They're going to play together, which is going to make this even more fun. So that's a little of both.
I think I read somewhere that Fantilli's 6'2", 203, which is far bigger than Connor Bedard, but they're just different players. And you mentioned some of the top prospects here, Bedard, Fantilli, both Canadians. Fantilli playing at the University of Michigan, Connor Bedard playing for God's team, the Regina Pats. From Slovakia, Dalibor Dvorsky. From Sweden, Leo Carlson. So those are a few. Now, Stephen has in the file, World Junior fans won't be able to see the Russian phenom, Matvei Mishkov, yet again, as the Russia-Ukraine war continues. He's still projected to be a top 5 NHL draft pick, but man, does this really suck. We saw him, the last time we saw him was at the World Under-18s, and him and Bedard were eye to eye. If you remember that tournament in Texas, Connor ended up winning the tournament in scoring. Canada won gold. He was the MVP, Bedard, but Mishkov was right on his tail. We almost forgot. I'm sorry to say, we almost forgot this war is going on because we don't see the coverage of it anymore. I was just reading a news story the other day. It's been going since February 24th. And just from a pure hockey standpoint, this is going to cost Mishkov potentially millions of dollars. Am I making too much out of that?
No, I don't think so. And it does change the whole framework of not only the draft, but this tournament. This is supposed to be Canada-Russia. This is supposed to be like the Summit Series. This is supposed to be like Crosby versus Ovechkin, right? Bedard versus Mishkov. And we're not going to get that. And I thought that would have been awesome to see how that plays out on the biggest stage for the under-20 kids in the world, the Christmas tournament. And then it might translate into who goes number 1 or who goes number 2 or who rises and falls in the draft. And I thought we'd see the shot-for-shot back and forth between those two. So it really sucks for the fans that the top 2 prospects in the draft now are both on the same team. So you don't get that rivalry being built. But maybe it will get stoked up if Mishkov gets drafted and then makes his way over to the NHL.
I really appreciate the term that our friend Kevin the Medium, one of our daily viewers from Airdrie, Alberta, said about this show. It's sports talk with a twist, and I feel like you're going to get oodles and oodles and oodles of coverage of the World Juniors, TSN and Sportsnet, but you're not going to get specifically the things that we're talking about here on Game Plus and YouTube and WQEE. And it's fun to talk about. Peter Loubardias is coming up, Sam Cosentino and Serena Taylor. Again, from Stephen's Files, he says Canada looking to repeat. Help from Shane Wright, Brant Clark of the LA Kings, and Dylan Guenther make Canada the heavy favorite to repeat, with help from returning gold medalist Zach Ostapchuk, Brennan Othman, Logan Stankoven, Connor Bedard, and Owen Zellweger. How do you feel about the fact that Anaheim did not return Mason McTavish, the guy who defended the game-winning goal last year? It was against Finland, right, in the gold medal game, and then went down the ice and scored the winner in overtime. The fact that he's not there, I wonder about that. And if Mason would even want to be in this tournament, sort of a been there, done that attitude from him, or if the team, the Anaheim Ducks, are robbing him of a golden opportunity.
No, I don't think they are. I think we kind of expected this, and he has been there, done that, and now playing a bigger role in Anaheim. I know they're struggling, but he gets to play meaningful minutes with the Ducks, and I think that's just as important at that next level now. You know, with Shane Wright, it's different. He's in the lineup. He's out of the lineup. He's struggled to, get acclimatized to the National Hockey League and take that jump after, being passed over at the top of the NHL draft. So he comes back with something to prove, and there's some development to the reason why you'd bring back a guy like Shane Wright to the World Juniors. I don't think there's an upside for McTavish to come back to the World Juniors. He's getting that in the NHL, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and you and I have been around junior hockey a long time. I've seen both sides of the coin. Those players that have the been there, done that idea, and those that would really prefer to go to the tournament. I've seen both cases, and I don't know Mason McTavish personally, so I guess we'd have to ask him. But interesting point here, says USA looking to bounce back. After losing to Czechia in the quarterfinals this summer, the Americans will be hungry and playing with a chip on their shoulder, a hockey powerhouse in their own right. It's hard to imagine them not being in medal contention once again. Listen, we had representatives of the American team on our show last year in Edmonton. I'm a Team USA fan. Shoot, that's where I am. But they came into Edmonton in August as the defending champions in a highly entertaining gold medal championship game 2 Januaries before that, beating Canada. Do you remember the garbage pail thing with the Canada logo on it and all the controversy that came out of that, Darren? So they were the cock of the walk in Edmonton, and then, as Stephen, our intern, points out, lost out to Czechia in the quarterfinals. That was the upset of the whole thing. And I remember going into that quarterfinal Wednesday, or was it Thursday? It was Wednesday. The analysts that know more than me saying, there's always an upset out of these 4 quarterfinals. There's always one. And that was it. Czechia over the USA. So how much have you looked into this in terms of Team America? And what do you think they'll bring into this tourney?
Yeah, USA is going to be hungry to try and avenge that loss. They really will be. And they've got some, highly skilled young players, especially up front. I think they're going to have, something to prove. And that's always, dangerous for everybody else. I don't think they're in, I got to go back and refresh the pools here. I think they're not in Canada's pool. They're in the other pool. They're in Pool B. So they'll avoid Canada through the round robin, which is good for the U.S. But yeah, a highly skilled group, not always the most size with that group as, say, compared to Canada, but a lot of speed and a lot of skill. So they'll be hungry to try and get back into the medal conversation.
You are correct. One more time, Group A, Canada, Sweden, Czechia, Germany, and Austria. And in Group B, USA, Finland, Switzerland, Slovakia, and Latvia. So it would appear all of the same teams from last year in Edmonton. That Group B is going to be playing at the Avenir Centre in Moncton. And Group A, the one which includes Team Canada, will be played at the Scotiabank Centre in Halifax. Have we got Lou lined up, guys? All right. Hey, Dupes, always thrilled chatting hockey with you. Happy holidays, my friend, and enjoy the World Juniors, and we'll do it again soon.
Merry Christmas.
It's our annual World Juniors special, and we will take a brief pause and be right back. You're watching on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, of course, your favorite podcast episode platform, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Peterson. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time. Big time. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Well, bless your heart. It's the Rod Peterson Show. Now, it's Rod Peterson.
Welcome back, everybody. It's our annual World Juniors special here on the RP Show. Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and now on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM. And without further ado, let's bring in our longtime friend, the good man, Peter Loubardias, Hockey Canada enthusiast, Calgary Flames longtime broadcaster. And I just want to make an apology. Last segment, I said that it was Mason McTavish who scored the game winner in overtime last year against Finland in the gold in August. No, it was Kent Johnson in that beauty goal. And let's start there, Lou. I'll say happy holidays, my man. It was a where were you moment. Where were you when Canada beat Finland in Edmonton in overtime of the World Jays gold medal game last summer?
I was at Rogers Place, the same place I was at for every single one of Canada's games, and I was with my son who has caught the World Junior bug, and we were in a little spot just above the top of the first section, and I think we ended up hugging people that I certainly didn't even know when Kent Johnson scored, only to go home and understand that they were millimeters away from, and I knew it was close from where I was in the rink. I just didn't know it was that close. So it was, for me personally, it was an incredibly special moment with my son and something that I'll treasure for the rest of my life.
Well, a couple points on that. And I know you've got a lot of information to divulge on this year's team, but can you share your thoughts on last year's tournament? It started with an empty arena, and you hear people saying nobody cares. Mushrooms to 13,000 and change for the gold medal final. The city was abuzz. It looked beautiful on television. It was like watching your child grow up, to a wonderful conclusion. That was how I looked at it. How about you?
Well, I literally did have that happen, almost figuratively through the course of that event. No, Roddy, you put it best. It felt odd. It felt different. It felt strange. It didn't feel like the World Junior for the longest time. It got better as the tournament went on, and then it was a bonanza on the final Saturday night where you got all of the World Junior in its splendor. And what never ceases to amaze me, Rod, you can go back now a long time in this tournament. It's hard to come up with a bad gold medal game. They have basically been sensational going all the way back to 2010 in Saskatoon. I mean, it has been an unbelievable run of great World Junior finals, whether Canada's been involved in them or not.
Well, and I've said it many times, but it's the first you've heard it. Our highest ratings we've ever had on this program, now we're in year 4, was the World Juniors last summer in August. It just blew me away. And in this business now, you can track, that better than you ever have. What is it, Lou? What is it about Canada and the World Juniors? Do you think that they love it
What's
so much?
What's on the front of your jacket? That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, look at what happened to this country during the World Cup or during World Cup qualifying. We love an opportunity as Canadians to come together, even though if you look at social media, all we do is beat the living daylights out of one another in all the other times. But sports is a great thing to bring us all together. That sport, needless to say, is something that we feel great ownership about because we're very good at it and still remain very good at it. And it's a tradition and it matters. And I think it matters. It certainly matters to me a lot in the sense that I love all Canadian team sports. And I get pretty much just as excited. In fact, now I might find myself being more excited about other Team Canadas than just our hockey teams. And the reason is because I want Canada to be better at a world level at more things. But it brings us as a country together. And it actually, from a people standpoint, it gives you hope.
Very, very well said, Lou. Now, you put all this work into studying these rosters. You know these players. So let me ask you this. What has you intrigued about the 2023 Team Canada roster? And what do you think has the potential for it to become special?
Well, I do think it has the potential to become special. And one of the reasons for that, Rod, is you got a bit of a sneak preview if you're a hockey fan at the 2021 World Under-18 Championship where Canada won the gold medal, and they did it with 12 of these players on their team, including the likes of Bedard and Gunther and Shane Wright. This team's forward group from top to bottom, in my estimation, has everything. It has firepower, it has size, it has versatility, it has power play people, it has people that can kill penalties. I don't know what exactly when this show is going to go, but on Boxing Day, if you have somebody like a Zach Ostapchuk, who's a terrific player with the Vancouver Giants, if that guy's down in your fourth group, you're a pretty good team at forward. Now on defense, and I felt similarly in the summer, I was concerned about the defense in the summer, but, people like Donovan Sabrango and Ethan Del Mastro came in. Zellweger's outstanding. I think he and Luke Hughes of the United States, I think, will battle for who's the top defenseman in the 2023 event. But I like the makeup. I like the fact that a lot of these guys have been together before. They've accomplished something. And it's a dangerous, dangerous team.
I think it's very exciting, and they've certainly got a lot more offensive explosion. And you know me, Lou, I like to talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't like that. I like to talk about the elephant in the room. One is Shane Wright being in this tournament last year. He was not. He wanted to get ready for his first camp with the Seattle Kraken. Did you feel that he stared down the Montreal Canadiens on his way up to the stage? Like, how big of a tournament is this for Shane Wright, do you think?
It's big. It's big, and I actually, when I watched that summer tournament unfold in Edmonton, I really felt strong that we were going to see him in Halifax. I didn't think he would be quite ready to be an everyday guy. And Rod, he had a little taste of it last Christmas before it got shut down. But what I always hope for all these young people is you don't get very many of those kind of experiences. And, Shane Wright played a couple games, tournament got shut down. Now he's going to be able to experience in a community like Halifax, which if you've never been, I covered the entire 2003 event there. It's still to this day one of my favorites. It's an amazing place with amazing people, hard to get a ticket. So I think it will be. And the other thing is, for somebody like Shane Wright, I think it's always incredibly beneficial to get your confidence back to the highest level. And nothing should do that more than being on that stage amongst your peer group, where he's going to play big minutes, he's going to play in pretty much every situation because he's a highly intelligent player. So I think it's the best thing that could have happened for him, and I think it'll bode really well when the tournament is all done.
Yeah, here's the thing. He's already drafted. He's already signed. So it's still big for all those reasons you said, but we're the benefactors of the fact we got some household names here. Bedard's a household name. Shane Wright's now a household name. Adam Fantilli, if he isn't one, is going to become one, I would think, when this tournament's over. But Connor Bedard was, I don't know your take on this, but Serena said it first. TSN people wouldn't say it. Eventually they had to. Connor Bedard was benched in the tournament last year. Came back, played a prominent role in the gold medal game. Yes. Nobody wanted to say it.
Was.
So how?
I did.
Obviously, this is massive. Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen. I don't make any bones about it. And here's what I always talk about. It's a hard tournament to play in and be really good at everything when you're 16 years of age. And is Connor Bedard one of the most exciting players with the best hands? Yes. But when you get to the playoff round in the World Junior, as we saw again, Rod, there's between winning and losing every year. And it got to the point for Dave Cameron, let's tell it like it is, couldn't necessarily trust Connor Bedard in all situations. And as I sat watching that event with my son, not that he's always going to take it in the same way, I said to him on a number of occasions, and I don't really want this taken the wrong way. I love the kid. He's spectacular. But I said to my son, when Canada's spent a lot of time in its own zone and has been under duress, who's been on the ice? It was him. And not just on him either. His line. So, yes, it did get to the point where Dave Cameron and the coaching staff didn't feel like they could use him in every situation. That will not be the case this time around.
Because he learned, you think, or what makes you say that?
Yeah, because I think he has learned. And this is not the Western Hockey League. This is the best crop of junior people in the world. You've got to check. And you've got to be reliable in tournaments at key times where, if you're not going to get me to every one you give up, that can't be the case. The margin of error in just about every one of these tournaments is too slim. But I think, listen, I'm a million. He wouldn't know me yet in a police lineup. And you know him really well. He's got great pride. He's an unbelievable competitor. And the reason I fell in love with the guy was in Texas. And the reason I fell in love with him at that World Under 18 is because every time Canada needed something in that tournament to happen, he made it happen. But last year, he's still a 16-year-old player. Sidney Crosby had 5 points as a 16-year-old. McDavid had like 4 points as a 16-year-old. Those guys are pretty good. It's a great tournament, and it's difficult, but this is going to be his last one. He's going to be flanked by great people. I could see him winning the scoring race in this event at 17, which does not happen very often, and I'm not sure it's happened since 1991 when Eric Lindros had 17 points in Saskatoon.
Wasn't that a wonderful tournament? And by the way, a wonderful analysis, Lou. That's what makes you so good. And I don't remember which game it was that Bedard was benched, but Serena pointed it out. We were watching the game together, and I'm like, no, he's got to be hurt. Nope. But you just said it. This isn't in Medicine Hat on a Tuesday night that nobody's watching. Dave Cameron's butt's on the line here, right? That's what you're saying. This is big. This is big time hockey.
It's every year it comes down to that small, and if you're on the wrong side of it, it's the difference between winning gold medals and losing gold medals. You have to check. And every year I go into breaking down the World Junior, the first place I look is not up front, defense. Do you have 4 guys in particular that you can send out there for 20 minutes to check elite level people? When Canada or any other country has had that, you got a real good chance to win. When you don't have that, it's hard. And I could take an hour to point out countless tournaments where I could back up why I said what I said.
1 minute left. Who is Canada's biggest threat, either within their own pool or the other, to win this thing?
In 1 minute, I still think every tournament now at this level, it's the United States. I don't think their 2003 age group is its best. Sweden has lost too much on defense, but still very dangerous up front. The Finns are always there. I still think probably the U.S. when it's all said and done. But here's my sleeper pick, and it's not really that big a sleeper if you paid any attention. Be wary of Czechia. Be wary of Czechia.
How about that?
Well, the upset USA last year, as you know, in the quarterfinal. Hey, in 20 seconds, Latvia were the darlings last year. Think they can be again?
I think they will. I think I checked last night, 14 or 15 potential returnees. Now, they've lost some really key guys from the summer, but they'll compete their tails off again.
It's going to be awesome. Lou, tally ho. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thanks for always helping us out.
And your whole group over there. Anytime, guys.
Right.
Be well.
Thank you, Lou. All right, go Flames. The great Peter Loubardias joining us from Cowtown. Serena Taylor joins us next, and we'll continue this World Junior special over the holidays in a moment. You're watching on Game Plus TV, live streaming on YouTube as always, and on the radio now, Metro Atlanta, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033. 233.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Well, bless your heart. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. Now, it's Rod Pedersen.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy holidays. It is our annual World Junior Special. And from the Moose to Peter Loubardias to our hockey analyst, Serena Taylor, who, happy holidays. Were your ears burning last segment?
No.
Oh, they weren't?
They were, but tell me about it.
Well, hey, we were talking about last year's World Juniors in August, where you were introduced to our viewers and how you were the first to say that Connor Bedard was benched. And I can't remember who it was against. It was a Monday game. You want to just take us back to that and what you saw and sort of the fallout from your comments and why nobody wanted to say it from the TSN panel? What do you remember about that?
I remember a lot about it. I think it was about not quite the middle of the second period. We were sitting there watching the game, and all of a sudden, Bedard wasn't playing on his usual line, which he was on the top line at that point. And you know when a guy's sitting dead center in the middle of the bench, that they're probably not coming out on this shift. And I made a comment to Rod and whoever else around us that I said, I think they benched Bedard. And of course, you know, most of the people like Rod were in denial about the whole thing. And I was like, just watch, you're going to see. And sure enough, and it led to this whole conversation between the two of us and I guess a few other people over the next few days about what actually transpired there and why no one talked about it. I wanted to know why nobody was asking him what happened. I mean, I think he could have handled it. He's a pretty professional player. I think he could have handled the questions, and nobody approached it. Nobody talked about it.
Well, and I don't know. Welcome to sports now, Serena. That's what's changed from when you were in the front trenches 20 years ago doing this, when you started as Canada's first female play-by-play broadcaster. But the reason I bring it up was nobody wanted to say it, and it wasn't me. I'm like, if you recall, I'm like, well, sure, I see he's not out there. I'm like, he must be hurt.
I know.
Remember that? So whatever. She was right. But the TSN guys didn't want to say it, remember?
Yeah.
You were yelling at the TV going, say it! Do you think they honestly didn't? They just didn't want to say it.
I think everybody's scared because even some articles I was reading right after Canada released their roster, the lead on the article was Wright and Bedard headline Team Canada. And I'm like, headline? Bedard was the least effective player at the World Juniors in August. How could you say he's headlining? It's all hype. It's all talk. And not too many players have ever lived up to the actual hype. So I think he can handle the pressure. Don't get me wrong. But back at the time when he was sitting on the bench, I knew right away. I'm like, he's not playing for a reason.
Yeah, well, he came out and he was a plus player in the gold medal game because he was on the ice when Kent Johnson scored the winner in overtime against Finland. So maybe he learned his lesson over the course of the next week after being benched. And the reason I'm setting this all up is, and you didn't just see the interview with Peter Loubardias, the Flames broadcaster, but he feels that Connor has learned his lesson and he won't be that player that you're talking about from last year's tournament. Now, you know his WHL numbers. It's about 175 points in 100 games, give or take. So 1.75 points per game. But nobody talks about his defensive play in the dub. What do you expect out of him in this tournament here in his draft year? Like, how does this tournament change for him? Last year was not his draft year. This is.
I don't understand how a player could not be 100% motivated to play at the World Juniors. There's probably, give or take, 10,000 kids in Canada that would love the same kick at the can, that would play their hearts out. And I'm not really sure if he didn't get motivated last year. And even after he got benched, I still don't feel like he was as effective as he could be. So I'm not really sure how it's going to go. It's going to depend whether or not he's that type of player. It's one thing playing in the Western Hockey League. You're playing with a different caliber of player than you are at the World Juniors. So whether he skates circles around guys like he does sometimes in the dub is going to be hard to say.
About this tournament, your expectation is obviously always gold for Canada, and if they were to win it, it would be their 20th. But and unfortunately, the plan was for us to be there. Things changed when we left Edmonton, as you know, in August. The Hockey Canada people were, see you in Nova Scotia, and then it didn't happen. There's a bit of a downer that we're not there, but we'll be able to watch it from where we are. What will you be watching for specifically?
Whenever I watch Canada, I feel like I watch for who is the guy that's going to stand out. You're always going to have those guys that you least expect it, that really just bring it. And, like Kent Johnson. I mean, probably the first game we watched, I said, Kent Johnson is unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And he just didn't stop. He did not stop moving the whole time, either same as Stankoven. And guys like that, you expect stuff out of like that, like out of a Mason McTavish, who had a different job on that team. He was the leader on that team, and it was expected of him. And he did exactly what he was supposed to do. So I like to see where guys kind of fit in, because when they're playing in junior, it's obviously a completely different level to them. They're not going to be playing in a tournament at the World Juniors where it's as hard a hitting as guys that play in the Western Hockey League. It's 11 kids from the Western Hockey League invited to this team. It's a way different hitting tournament and a different contact and different aggression, but that's where I like to see where some players stand out.
When you learned that Mason McTavish wasn't going to be in this tournament, what did you think, knowing that he's eligible to be?
Well, it always infuriates me. Not as much as Lafreniere a few years ago. That one really upset me. But I think we're strong enough. Obviously, Mason McTavish would be a huge addition for us, but I'm confident in our team this year. Absolutely. Those guys are only 4 months older.
Yeah. Well, do you think this year's team would beat last year's team? I know it's an unfair rhetorical question, but what do you think they would stack up?
That's a tough one, because it's a lot of it is the same players, but there's a lot of different players that are coming. I mean, really, Anaheim's got 2 guys coming. So what are they going to give McTavish as well? I mean, they got a lot of players that they're donating to our cause.
Yeah, I think there are 8 returning players, and one of those, of course, is Connor Bedard, Logan Stankoven of the Kamloops Blazers. How about this? Have you ever watched World Juniors, and you've been watching it since you were a little kid? Did you ever think about the draft ramifications? I never really did, but I've started to. You know,
Great question. I've never thought about it at all because I really don't think that that's what the NHL teams look at. I mean, it doesn't hurt, obviously, but you think someone that watched the juniors this year is going to look at Connor Bedard the way I did and say, I'm not going to draft that guy because he was undershowed his value? I don't think so.
Well, I think the term you used was underwhelming, if I'm not mistaken.
That's one of the terms.
If you had the number 1 overall pick, and maybe you want to wait until this tournament is over before you made a decision on this, but you're still taking Connor Bedard number 1, I would think.
I would think they probably will. I mean, what do? You don't take Connor Bedard? Then what happens when he you're almost in a point where you have to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, one thing that we need to be clear on, and again, you don't mind the criticism of what you say, but you're not saying he's not skilled or all world that way, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He's extremely skilled. But when I was 6 years old, there was kids in my league lighting it up, and they certainly didn't end up in the NHL because there's going to be players at every level that are head and shoulders above the other kids and the other guys and the other this and the other that. But once you put them in a league where they're actually getting hit, they're actually getting beat up on. I mean, Bedard got picked on a lot at the last juniors. He took a lot of grief from the other teams, and he did really, really well keeping it together. And I think that's the kind of stuff that scouts are going to look at is how does he handle himself when it comes to things like that.
Well, I think a lot of it was a learning experience for him. And let's remember, he was only 16, which I know you won't let him off the hook for, but he had to realize this is not WHL play. This is the biggest stage of hockey.
Yeah, age has nothing to do with putting in effort. He blatantly did not put in a good effort.
I'm just saying that would have been a learning experience, I would hope, for him last summer.
We'll see. I mean, it's hard to tell. You can never tell.
In a way, I feel guilty that we spend so much time on Team Canada and one specific player. And in the next segment, we'll look around a little bit of groups A and B of this World Juniors. We have 2 minutes here right now, though. What were the fun stories about last summer that you enjoyed of teams that weren't Canada?
I would have to say being at the rink when teams were practicing, like Latvia and all those teams and their fans, the 5, I think, Latvian fans that they had. I'm not exaggerating. I think there was a group of like 5 of them. They would come to the practices and they were just happy to be part of it. And man, there is just something to be said about being at that environment with those kids that have never played in a situation like that. Can you imagine being from Latvia and going to play in Edmonton in front of all these fans and this grand stage? It was amazing.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't their first win ever. I was initially led to believe that it was in the round robin, but I guess they'd won one other game ever before, but that Latvian team was fun. And Peter Loubardias just said 14 to 15 returnees from last year's Latvian team. That should tell me that they could make some noise in this tournament.
Absolutely. Let's hope they do. Not against us. But
when we come back, we'll talk a little more about the pools and this year's tournament and maybe some World Juniors memories. When we return, it's our yearly World Junior Hockey Championship special on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Text 902 518 3033. 902 518 3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Well, bless your heart. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. Now, it's Rod Pedersen.
Welcome back, everybody. It is what we call the viewer takeover segment, but we're going to just have Serena take over here for the final one. Thank you for helping us out on this World Junior Special. Next hour, I'll go through the Canada staff and the roster and just this wonderful work that our intern Stephen has done, notable snubs from the Team Canada roster. But I want to ask you this. Last segment, I said to Peter Loubardias, what is it about the World Juniors that make it so special? You know that our highest ratings we've ever had for this show was during the World Juniors in August, and I don't know why I'm surprised by that, but you don't seem so surprised by it.
Not at all, especially because we were there. Everybody knew we were there.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it so special? I'm not really sure. I think that Canadians obviously have a passion for hockey, and it's the one international tournament that is played every year. And there's just something about the way, because the tournament is generally in Canada every other year per tradition. So I think that Canadians just really gravitate to it. And over the last probably 40 years, I'll say, it has really built, I think, in entertainment value and in interest and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's over the holidays. People are home. They're in a good mood.
Sure. But this was August. You know what I mean? So,
but the rink wasn't as full.
Till the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the excitement picked up as the event went along. We were just talking to Peter about that. And you love the World Juniors as much or more than anybody I know. Mm-hmm. When do you remember it becoming such a big part of your life?
I don't remember. I don't remember when it started, but I just remember my family, my cousins, they probably still have old VHS tapes of old recorded games. And I think my aunt and uncle still have a VCR, and we would just pull out games from like 95 where, just big things were happening and people would come over and watch the games. And I don't remember specifically, but maybe the Slaney goal in overtime from the point.
Help us out, guys. 88, does that sound right?
I think so. It was 90.
Maybe after. I'd have to look it up. But for me, it was, which I haven't even talked about on this show yet. And again, I don't have the years in front of me, but it was the famed punch up in Piastani. And you know the one, I think.
It was 87.
Then when it was 87. And you would have been not very old.
No, but
it was. I remember watching because Theron Fleury was on that team, and there was the brawl, and they turned the lights out. And the cool part was Don Cherry and Brian Williams were back. It was on CBC, not TSN, and they were analyzing it in between periods after this brawl. Can you imagine? To me, that's when it went from just this little hockey tournament. Anyway, at that point, it was only 4, 5, 6 years old, anyways. To a big deal.
Well, no, it's been happening since the mid to late 70s. Because Wayne played.
Enough.
Yeah. Wayne played.
So maybe 10 years old, but still, up until that point, it was just a hockey tournament, not this major thing. And did you get a sense, in less than a minute, the pressure that's on Team Canada, just a little bit we're around the team at the World Juniors in August?
Yes, definitely. Especially being there, you could really feel it. And after having no hockey for a year because of COVID, Canada had to win, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have about a minute, and sitting here, we are in Florida. You are a U.S. citizen. Can you talk about the fervor that will be in Florida over this World Juniors tournament following Team USA?
It'll be the two of us, and that's probably, there's a bunch of Canadians that are down here, though, in season. So, there's a bunch of people here.
But it won't be like watch parties for the World Cup.
No, it'll be hard to find.
Okay. All right, Sarina. Well, I would ask you for a prediction, but you're just going to say Canada will win it, I
Absolutely.
guess, right? All right.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Sarina. We're not done, by the way, but here in hour one, thank you to Darren Moose Dupont. Thank you to Flames broadcaster Peter Loubardias, who joins us every year to tee up the World Junior Hockey Championship. Enjoy it, and we will see you when it's all said and done to break it down. Coming up on the other side of the break, we'll be joined by our good friend Sam Cosentino from Rogers Sportsnet. He and I broadcast the World Juniors together back in 2012 on Sportsnet Radio. So stick around, everybody, after this brief pause here on Game Plus, YouTube Live, and The Key, where there are big hockey fans down there in Metro Atlanta, WQEE Radio 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Listen, I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm getting sick of the Dallas Cowboys, thanks to them. I don't see Falcons fans tweeting, why don't you talk about our team? I don't see San Jose Sharks fans writing ESPN, how come you don't talk about our team? Okay, I can't. I just need to and block out the noise. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
This is the Rod Peterson Show.
Hi, everybody. It is the RP Show. It's hour 2. We're coming at you live YouTube today, on the streams, No Game Plus TV, and the radio, WQEE. Changing things up a little bit. Pausing the discussion. The World Junior Hockey Tournament, the world's largest hockey tournament, is in the Maritimes beginning Boxing Day, and we're doing a special preview of it. And that's what we're going to talk about in this segment here in hour 2 as we lift the lid with our good friend Sam Cosentino from Rogers Sportsnet. He and I, let's say it, Sammy, because it was so great. Along with Andrew Walker, we're part of the broadcast crew in 2012 on 27 radio stations across the country, Sportsnet Radio. A very special year. And Sammy, before we talk about this year, first of all, Merry Christmas, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well, Roddy. Great to see you. Happy holidays to you. And from what I understand, maybe a happy 29th birthday. You're looking great, pal.
Yeah, well, you're only as old as you feel, and that's why I'm in Florida. Old and worn out, Sammy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, we'll talk about the 2012 tournament in a moment. It was a special tournament, and you see a lot of guys still in the NHL from that. Huberdeau, Boone Jenner, there's a ton, but that's a topic for another time. This year's World Junior team, which was announced on Monday the 12th, December 12th. How did you feel? Any surprises for you when it came out?
The one surprise I had was maybe Owen Beck out of Mississauga. He was the first pick in the second round to Montreal, and by all accounts, you know, he made a push for a spot on the Montreal roster. It didn't come to fruition for him, but the Montreal Canadiens were more than happy with what they got. They knew they were getting a good player, but maybe not someone quite as detailed as Owen is. You know, Caden Bankier's a kid who plays with Logan Stankoven out in Kamloops, and so there's probably a pretty good connection there between those two guys. You have a Western Hockey League head coach in Dennis Williams, and then you have a management group from Ontario that kind of moves things around here a little bit, but it gives you a bunch of different looks. But just, you know, Owen in the face-off circle, is a right shot guy, good details in his game. I think he can be an effective guy who would play lower in your lineup should he be required to do so. Would have been a great fit, but you know, who am I to argue? This is pretty much the same management group that put together that great team in the summer, and and by all accounts had their fingers into the pie when the Canadian team won in 2021 in August at the under-18s. We're seeing some of those players on this team as well. So, you can't argue, I guess, until it's over. But that's probably the only surprise there for me would be Owen Beck of Mississauga.
Well, I'll say it again, as I have for a few times on this show, this World Junior Special. Are the highest ratings we've ever had. Podcast downloads were in Alberta last summer at the World Junior Tournament. I mean, I knew Canadians and hockey fans loved the World Juniors. I didn't realize that much. So that's why we're doing this today with you and our special guest talking about it. And now I bring this up. You've known Shane Wright a really long time. Now of the Seattle Kraken, but loaned to Team Canada for these World Juniors. He didn't play in the summertime. We knew he slipped from the first projection down to fourth. Didn't go to the Habs, went to the Kraken. You've seen him come up through junior. The sense, here's mine, that he's got a chip on his shoulder, maybe a bit of a cocky kid. I don't know. You know him. What's the misconception on Shane Wright of this Canadian squad?
Well, to be honest with you, like he's a wonderful young man, and he just kind of wants to go about his business of playing hockey. And he was able to do that going back to when I was watching him in minor hockey at 14 years old with the Don Mills Flyers, and a guy who was a really exceptional player at that age, exceptional coming into the Ontario Hockey League. COVID hits, he doesn't go anywhere. He gets criticized by a number of NHL teams for not trying to pursue playing while the shutdown in Ontario was happening. And that really kind of set the course sideways for him a little bit. And people really, for the first time in his life, started to challenge him. Hey, we see your work rate isn't always what it should be in Ontario Hockey League games. Why didn't you pursue going to play at least somewhere when Ontario was shut down? What do you have to say about certain teammates and situations and coaches that you've played for, so on and so forth? And so a lot of that stuff that he was challenged on had never happened for Shane before because everything came so easily and so naturally to him. And I think it made him feel uncomfortable. I think it elicited some answers that NHL teams didn't like in the interview process. And clearly the Montreal Canadiens felt that they had a better sense of what Juraj Slafkovsky was going to bring to the table. The next two teams, I didn't think were looking to address the center ice position with someone of Shane's ilk. And all of a sudden he falls to number 4. But he's a wonderful young man. I don't think he's handled the adversity as well as he would have liked. But then again, he hasn't had a ton of it to get the experience in handling adversity. So when I look at Shane, I look at a situation where he's going to be really comfortable. You know, Brennan Othman's an old teammate of his going back to their minor hockey days. They played in the line at the under-18s together. They had a ton of success. I would expect them to be reunited here and put Shane in a really comfortable position. He is going to feel the heat, but he's feeling the heat in a peer group as opposed to, wow, you should have gone here in the draft, or you should be in the NHL, and all these other sorts of things that make him a guy that should fit into an older group. He's not quite ready for that yet. So I think this is going to be a huge experience for him to get back to his peer group, to understand the pressure of what it's like to succeed in the peer group, and I think he's going to have success there.
Ginormous discussion over Connor Bedard being benched at last year's World Juniors on this World Junior special and also on this show today. And Serena Taylor, our hockey analyst, has pointed it out. She's not the only one. A lot of people don't want to hear it. That was not his draft year. This is. Sam, what's the pressure on Connor Bedard going into this tournament?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you see a 4-goal game from a guy, and that hasn't really happened very much at all. You're looking at a guy who's on pace to break some records, the long-standing Canadian records, and then the tournament gets shut down, and then he goes and is a guy who, when he was selected first overall as the WHL's first exceptional player, has always had these expectations. For whatever reason, he's been able to handle those things. I think, playing for John Paddock in Regina, he's had to clean up some of the details in his game, and he may not be perfect away from the puck or on the D side, but he does one thing that's extremely hard to do in hockey at any level, and that's the ability to score goals. The way it comes off his stick, the deception off the blade, his curl and drag, and being able to find little lanes between defensemen's legs or using their players in front as a screen. It's an innate ability that not a lot of people possess. And so I think Connor's he's poised to do big things. I mean, listen, Rod, in the WHL, he's got a 17-point lead in the scoring race. And I think about 5 other 2023 draft eligibles, another in Tanner Howe, his teammate, who's a 2024 draft eligibles, all sitting inside the top 10 of Western Hockey League scoring. That's really unheard of. And Connor Bedard is the leader of the pack, and by a long way. So I think that speaks volumes as to where Connor is with his game. And again, another guy who I think is going to have a ton of success here. And who knows? Maybe he ends up playing with Shane, gets bumped over to the wing, plays with Shane, plays with Brennan Hoffman, and that line finds success as they did at the under 18s.
Hey, you're the prospect guy. How much is it affecting Matvey Mishko that this is the second year that Russia will not be in the World Juniors? What's it doing to his draft stock?
Well, I think the tournament in general suffers because of it. From a pure hockey perspective, I'm not going to get into the geopolitical thing. I think everyone knows where people stand on the geopolitical issues. From a pure hockey perspective, in any tournament you get to that decides a world championship, you want to play best on best. We hear this argument from National Hockey Leaguers all the time. They want a best on best scenario. And quite frankly, you don't achieve that without the Russians there. The Russians are always in the mix for a medal. They're always in contention for a gold medal. They're uber talented. They do things a little bit differently than the way things are done in North America. So that twist to the tournament sometimes adds some entertainment. And you and I saw it back in 2012. But it takes away from the tournament best on best. For Matvey in particular, there's going to be enough eyes, NHL eyes on him over there. There's going to be enough you're going to be able to do through video scouting, and there's going to be enough international currency before the geopolitical issues started for him to be considered a top 5 hockey player in this draft class. Now, geopolitical thing, the lengthy contract that still exists with his SKA team in Russia, and then does the player want to come over? Is he afraid to come over? What team that's going to be picking in the top 5 is going to be able to take that sort of risk? So aside from a pure hockey playing perspective, he deserves to be in the conversation of Fantilli and Leo Carlson and Connor Bedard. From where he ends up going on draft day is going to be a real crapshoot. But it definitely hurts him not being at this tournament to be able to strut his stuff against what I expect will be a number of draft eligibles in this event.
We got about 5-6 minutes left. Those are the key issues I wanted to ask you. I mean, what are yours? Who are the leaders coming out? Lou says Latvia's got 14 to 15 players returning, and they had a great showing last year. What do you expect from them? And USA got bounced by Czechia on the quarterfinal day. They got to be ticked off. Who do you think's going to be left standing in the end of this thing?
The U.S. is really, really good. And in fact, they're going to probably end up looking a little bit younger than what we've seen. And I think about last year's draft with the Gauthier, Snuggerud, Cooley. Those guys played in a line together at the under 18 program. They've all advanced into the college level now. They're all having really good success at the NCAA level, playing against higher competition, not to mention what they've had previously. Luke Hughes in the back end, so on and so forth. So they're going to be a really, really difficult team to beat. The Swedes are loaded, and I mean loaded with National Hockey League drafted prospects, maybe a little bit weaker in the back end in goal. But I love their forward group. It's deep and it's talented. The Finns are always going to give you the same effort you get all the time. I think a team that might surprise some people here, and it's going to hurt them without Slavkovsky there. But Slovakia, is a program that's sort of changed its thinking in the way they go about the game. Typically, they were a country that played not to lose, and now they've changed that mentality around. Craig Ramsey, a big part of that, coaching the national team over there, and says we want to be a country that attacks and plays to win, not sit back and be a team that tries that sits there and tries not to get beat, for example, by playing a different style. So they'll be a really good team. I think the tournament is going to be highly, highly competitive. Yeah, there's some weaker groups, even Latvia with its returning players. Yeah, you look at Austria, typically not a powerhouse, but essentially they're in place of the Russians. You look at the Germans, they'll be okay, but probably not there in the end. So I'm looking at the usual suspects. And without Russia being there, it might open the door for Slovakia, Czechia, kind of get back into that, into that top 3 and medal contention.
I got to ask you, what do you know, being a Southern Ontario guy like Mason McTavish, who won the league with Hamilton last year, why Anaheim didn't send him. Like, they just felt he's been there, done that. We had a chance to set some records here. How do you feel about him not returning to the tournament?
Anaheim has one win in what, 30, one regulation win in 30 games. I mean, is that helping a player, maintaining a role in that situation? I watched the Ducks the other night, and with where they are, he sort of has to play in their top 6 right now. So even though they're losing at a high pace, they're probably looking at the development. And it's that fine line, Roddy. Do you want to be on a team that continuously loses? Is that good for your development? Does it push you in terms of your adversity? The player personality definitely comes into it. Or do you give him an opportunity to go back and do things that he's already done and been pretty good at? So I suppose that's what Pat Verbeek and the Anaheim people were thinking about. But at the end of the day, they probably looked and said, we don't really have a guy to replace him on our National Hockey League roster, so he's going to stay with us. I wouldn't be averse, based on one regulation win this season, if they sent him back and gave him another type of winning experience. That, like, I wouldn't be overly surprised by that. I think we're at that point of no return right now, but I guess until that roster's set on the 25th at midnight, I guess that possibility always exists.
And it's just funny you mentioned that age group of this World Juniors and that under-18 tournament. Cole Sillinger, I just saw him come through here with Columbus the other night, dude. He had 11 minutes, 10 seconds of ice time. He's one of their top guys, and he never got to play for Canada at the World Juniors like his dad. And at the under-18s, he got COVID, or he was in COVID protocol. Listen, Cole will be fine, but it's too bad we never really got to see him in Hockey Canada's jersey. And I bring that up because I watched that Instagram Live he did with him. What a great player and what a great kid.
Hey, let me ask you this, Roddy. If you're Cole Sillinger and Jarmo Kekalainen goes to him and says, hey, would you go play on the World Juniors? Like, what type of dilemma would you be in as Cole Sillinger? You're an established NHLer with, 74 or 5 games last year, surprising everyone to make it as an 18-year-old and playing pretty well, at times playing, a first or second line center role. Or do you say to yourself, if I leave here, even though Columbus isn't going really good right now, am I forfeiting my spot? Am I going to be able to come back? Or simply, is it a financial thing? Like, I'm an NHL guy making NHL money. I don't need to go back and play at the World Juniors and try and win a gold medal. I'd be fascinated to hear your thoughts on what you would say if that situation were presented to Cole via Jarmo Kekalainen and the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Number one, I think he'd go in a second. He's like, where's my ticket? His biggest dilemma would be, who do I play for? He was born in Columbus. He's got dual citizenship. So he could play for 2 countries. That would be... He would want to go. There's no two ways about it. Of course, he would want to represent his nation, but the question would be which one?
Wow. I mean, I would think Canada, because he got down the road, and maybe because he hasn't played
just saying he
double
could.
IHF sanctioned games, he might still be eligible to play in the States. I don't think he's played in double IHF sanctioned games, because if you do that, once you do that, you've committed to that country for the rest of your double IHF life, so to speak.
Yeah, so I would say he'd want to go. The question would be, for whom? And Canada would be his first pickup. I'm saying he could play for the Americans. A very special kid with a very special resume. Sammy, Merry Christmas. Thanks for the time.
Merry Christmas, Roddy. Great to see you. Happy birthday, buddy.
We'll be right back. It's the RP Show, Game Plus Television, YouTube live streaming, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
And being able to be a part of Team Canada. How exciting is it to be a part of that group, and how was it when you found out you were going to be on the staff?
Well, it's an honor. It's always an honor to coach for your country or play for our players. You wait for that phone call, you hope for it. I've been lucky enough to have a couple opportunities to coach for Canada, and it's always a special experience. And this one, with the team we have and the players that we're surrounded with, I'm very excited and very honored.
So, got a heavy Western flavor, which I love, with Dennis Williams back behind the bench, the Everett Silvertips head coach. What's your relationship been like with him, and what kind of, Western influence are you guys going to have on Canada's club?
Well, he's a great coach. I know him from coaching our league and running across him in different paths. I coached with him this summer, go with Hockey Canada just for a couple games there. Lots of energy. He's fun to be around. He's a great coach that has a lot of good ideas. I think it's a staff right now that we've built that we can, we all seem to bring a lot of energy. It's fun to be, from my perspective, learning from other guys. And you always go back to your club team with new ideas. But our goal right now is to win gold. And I think we're excited to have that challenge and excited to try to go for that adventure.
So let's dive into the club and into this group of kids. You got some players back from last year's team, others are not, like Mason McTavish. So overall, what should we expect as the first impressions of Canada's roster?
Well, I think it's a real good mix. We're fortunate to have some guys returning from the NHL. You don't always have that, and I think it's a luxury that we've been afforded by some NHL teams loaning their players back to us, and it's really helped our skill level. Obviously, there's more returning players than there has been in past years, so it seems like a veteran kind of influence, and our group's really gelled real quick together. And I think that's part of winning from the previous year. But we have a lot of skill up front. We have a line that can be real physical. So it's a good mix up front of skill and physicality that I think Canada's going to be real excited to see both sides of our game that way. And the same thing's on our back end. We have some high skilled defensemen in Zellweger and Clark and Korchinski, but we also have some big bodies back there that are real solid defenders that are physical as well, and they can really move the puck. So it's a great mix up front on the back end. And we think we're in a good spot in net with two goalies that can really compete and are fighting for that starting job.
I could ask you about every guy in this roster individually, and we could talk about this for 2 hours, but I won't talk about everybody. There are some storylines that I'm following and things I'm interested in. Obviously, our listeners and viewers and fans across Western Canada are so familiar with Connor Bedard, but maybe not so much with Adam Fantilli, right out of the University of Michigan. And as they battle to potentially be the number one overall pick, tell me about Adam Fantilli and what your impressions of him have been through the camp in this process.
Yeah, he's a player that I've had. I had him a couple summers ago, and his game has sure matured. He's a skilled hockey player that his speed has increased. He's real fast. He can shoot the puck. He's a big body. I think he's going to be a player that Canada's real excited to see play. He's a guy that when he gets a puck and there looks like there's nothing there, he can create a scoring chance out of nothing. And we saw that already playing U Sports there. He scored a nice goal where he just made a nice one-on-one play and created space and scored a really, really nice goal. So high level of skill, very fast. And he's a high energy guy that's fun to be around. He can lay in the mood, and he provides a lot of different elements to his game that has grown. And I think he's going to be a key player for us at the tournament.
We've seen the projected line combos, and every practice, the media will dissect every single combo. But what are the chances we see Adam and Connor actually playing together on a line?
Well, there's always a chance. They're not together right now. But you know how these tournaments go. They start off one way. Your 13 forward ends up playing in your top six sometimes, so it changes a lot. But you never know. They could be together. They might not be together. A lot of times, if we stick the way we are now, we're probably playing pretty well if we haven't made any changes. So I'm sure at some point you might see him for a couple of shifts here or there.
How about Shane Wright? That's another interesting one for me. He'll be a leader on this team, no doubt. And I'm expecting Shane Wright, after what happened at the draft and maybe a slow start in and out of the lineup in Seattle, to come back with a chip on his shoulder and really with something to prove. Do you get that sense from him that he could just explode and really have a big tournament?
I really think so. I've been overly impressed with him. He is one of our leaders for sure, and he's come back with the right attitude. He brings energy every day. He's extremely humble. He's easy to talk to. He's coachable, but I'm excited to coach him and have that opportunity to be around him and learn parts of the game from him and his view as a player. I from my first experience with him, what I've seen so far, he's going to be a heck of a hockey player in the NHL, and we're very lucky to have him here. And he's definitely one of the guys that leads us. And I believe we're in for a big tournament from him.
Every year, it feels like there's somebody, and usually it comes from like the bottom six, or, I remember when I was growing up watching this tournament, it would be guys like Jordan Tutu or Steve Downey, those energy guys who ended up kind of being the identity of Canada's team. They weren't filling the net with all the goals, but who aren't we talking about enough with your group that could be one of those players? Who are the one or two guys that are going to step up and fly from under the radar to on everybody's radar?
Well, on this team, it seems like there's so many guys that could be that guy. You look at the line we have together right now with, Bankier, Ospachuk, Schaefer, possibly Doc in that combo as well. And it's kind of like that energy team line we talked about with the previous years with Tutu, and just a physical line that can come out and I think provide a lot of energy from our team. They're all big bodies that I think, when they're working down low in that O-zone, they're going to create a lot of offense from their physicality and creating room. It'll be exciting to watch them on forecheck. And I think, my belief is they're going to score some big goals for us from the way they play. and how they could play as a line.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that happening. As you look at the pool that you're in, there's no Russia. They're not going to be part of this tournament again. So what do you kind of look at as your biggest threats in your pool as you head towards the medal round?
It's a great question. I don't know. It's you just kind of go one game at a time. And right now we're in camp. We got exhibition coming up. I don't even know if we've gone that far down the road yet, but you just want to make sure. From previous experience, I know that come those playoff rounds, when it matters that you're playing your best hockey. I mean, it's I think you're always in a pretty good spot to get to those rounds, but you got to make sure that you're playing your best when you hit those rounds. And so many things can change. An upset on the other side can really shuffle who you might play in the quarters or the semifinals. So you just kind of worry about your game right now and making sure your team's in a great spot when you do come towards that kind of quarterfinal playoff, one game elimination hockey.
Now, as you guys get set for the tournament, what does Christmas look like for this group now out in Eastern Canada? What's your schedule? Have you guys got something planned now? As we pre-record this, and it's going to air 2 different times. This is going to air for the first time on Friday, the 23rd, leading into Christmas is our real special, and then it'll air again next week. But what's the plan now for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, as you guys head towards Boxing Day?
Yeah, well, we're in St. Andrews right now. We were in Moncton. We came to St. Andrews. A nice little community. We're at a nice little resort here, right on the water. So it's kind of a nice little getaway for the team right now. We've been practicing every day, a couple hours. It's been a pretty busy schedule, but it's just you're close to the team. The 24th we'll go for a nice team dinner, kind of a Christmas dinner as a team. The 25th we'll practice on Christmas Day, and then we're into our first game on the 26th. So it happens pretty quick. It's always a little different being away for Christmas Day. But as a team, you can really bond on that day. And I remember from the past experience, that dinner the night before as a team is always a special event. And it's a fun time, but at the same time, you're trying to get ready for a tournament. So you kind of mix in the Christmas spirit with trying to be serious and approach the game the right way.
Families going to be around too? Will the players have any of their families? Obviously, a lot of families will be traveling and joining you guys.
Yeah, they will. The players, I'm sure their families will be in there for that first regular game, preliminary game we play. My family will be coming in, all the coaches' family will be coming in. It's a fun experience. You get your family around you, your kids around you. It's a different environment when you're with Hockey Canada at some of those games than I've seen in the past. It's pretty wild. You see the jerseys, you look around the crowd, they're stacked 4 deep, especially that New Year's game is a pretty wild game to be at. And I'm excited to see the different experience from Vancouver to be in Halifax and meeting different people. And from what I've heard, it's a pretty wild crowd that gets into the game, and it'll be a loud event.
I was going to say, you probably can't get more opposite than going from one coast to the other in terms of the fans, the atmosphere, and everything. That's going to be really, really cool. I'm looking forward to that. And how nice is it going to be to get back to having a World Junior Christmas time? I mean, it was great in Edmonton, and I mean, we were there, and the ratings were awesome, and it was fun. But this is what the World Juniors is about, right? Christmas time?
It really is. And we've talked about it, and the players know it too. It's a special experience. It's something we've all grown up with. I remember being a kid, and you have Christmas, and you look forward to that Boxing Day where you can wake up and see that first game. And it's a Christmas tournament that we've grown up around in Canada, and it's a pretty special event for our country. And like I said, I'm just honored to be a part of it, and I'm very excited for it. And it's a Christmas event that it's always special, and we all grew up with it. You grew up with it, I did, and it's what we're born with and what we live.
Absolutely, and we'll let you go, but I won't leave you without getting a plug in for Lethbridge and how things are going back there. I know they're in good hands, but give us an update on the team back in Alberta.
Oh, we're playing well. We haven't skipped a beat, and Matty Anholt and Ryan Aisman back there are running it right now, and they're doing a great job. We've very proud of our players. We kind of had a slow start to this season, but we've been on fire lately and playing some real good hockey, and our guys are working real hard, and we're slowly climbing the standings right now.
Awesome, Brent. Well, I appreciate this. I'm a big fan. Happy holidays and all the best during the tournament.
Hey, thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Brent Kisio, assistant coach, Team Canada. We're going to Julie Robenheimer next here on our World Junior Championship preview show.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca. You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any maker model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
That would be 2011 in Buffalo.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, that was an exciting tournament, too. What do you remember about that tournament in Buffalo?
The Russians getting drunk in my hotel after they won gold.
Nothing to do with being on the ice. Have the Russians changed since then, other than them not being in the tournament? Let's start there. How disappointing is it? Some of our analysts have said that this isn't a real best-on-best tournament because Russia's not there. How do you feel about the fact that they're not in the Maritimes this year?
Well, here's the thing. I don't really care in terms of like teams, who's there, who's not there, or who wins. I shouldn't say that. I don't care who wins. Okay. So it's not a matter of like, I want good competition. I want to see the players. I want to see the prospects. The fact that like Matvei Mishka has kind of just faded into the woodwork here, I think it's a disservice to hockey fans everywhere. You know, Mishkov is like top billing every single game at the U18 World Championships 2 years ago with Connor Bedard and Mishkov going head to head, especially in the gold medal game. Oh my gosh, amazing. So the fact that we as hockey fans are denied that kind of elite level talent is a shame. So for reasons like that, I'm disappointed that Russia is not in the tournament. I also love the Russian fans. They come with so much energy and so much passion. Even at the World Championships this past year in Finland, in my opinion, you know, the fans, the energy that they brought was sorely missed. So, you know, until they figure themselves out, the hockey world is missing out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And listen, I got to ask you about Team USA. The names that are famous in the NHL now, Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, Spencer Knight, soon to be Dustin Wolf, all came up through Team USA, but they're long gone now. Who are the next ones on this year's Team USA?
Well, that's one of the things that I love about this tournament. It is the future of the NHL on display today. So the guys that you want to pay attention to are some guys you may have already know, one of which is Luke Hughes. The defense for Team USA is really fast, really skilled. They don't have a lot of like Banff players, you know, kind of the stay-at-home steady guys. But I would look at Luke Hughes. I would also look at Lane Hudson. He is a smaller guy, but tons of offensive power. If you've been paying attention to him at Boston University, you already know what I'm talking about. If not, give it a go. He's a gem. Another guy is Seamus Casey on the blue line, Sean Behrens. But as far as like superstar NHL potential, I would stick with Luke Hughes on defense. Up front, we've got Logan Cooley, who was selected 3rd overall this past year, if I remember correctly. Cutter Gauthier is another guy. He was selected 5th overall by the Philadelphia Flyers. And he is, he's got some skill, but he's more of a two-way power forward. So he's not necessarily the guy who is going to be like skilled in getting the puck on net, but he gets the puck on net and it often gets through. So he's somebody to pay attention to. And then for this year's draft class, Ryan Leonard, who is projected as a top 10 pick, potentially even top 5 if things continue on this path. So, and then of course, Charlie Stramel. So there's lots of names to take note of on Team USA.
It's funny you say, of course, Charlie Stramel. I'm not that familiar with him. University of Wisconsin. I thank our intern, Stephen Lillick, for putting together this wonderful file. Projected to be a fringe top 10 pick in this year's draft. Would you go along with that? First rounder for sure, but maybe or maybe not top 10?
Yeah, definitely fringe in the top 10, but I think he's more inside the top 10 than out of it. But he's a big body. He's skilled. He's very smart. So he has a lot of tools where he's like kind of like 8s across the board.
Gotcha. It was breaking up for a second, but you're good. I shouldn't look back, but I have to. Team USA got out of Edmonton pretty fast after losing on quarterfinal Thursday. There was a Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it was, the upset loss to Czechia. How did that go over, Julie? I never had a chance to talk to you afterwards. That was not expected, obviously.
It was, but it wasn't. The thing is that the U.S. had some injury problems. And then also you had a Czech team that was pissed. So they were willing to lay down the hammer and they gave Team USA everything they got. And you saw that in the fact that they really had nothing left in the semifinals. So, was it disappointing? Yes. To say that I was like shocked or surprised, maybe not. Had there been a healthy Luke Hughes in that game, could it have been different? Possibly. But I think for USA, they want to win gold. I know like your audience is Canadian and Canada always wants to win gold, but so does USA. So anything short of a gold medal is a disappointment to them. No one's happy leaving in the semi or in the quarterfinals. So, you look back when Canada lost in the quarterfinals and nobody likes that. So this is kind of the standard of where USA hockey is.
Yeah, cool. Well, and so speaking of that, in the time we have left, which is about 4 minutes, to the Maritimes, what's your take of the field, USA's pool, and what are their chances this year?
Well, USA's pool toughest opposition is going to be Finland, potentially Slovakia. In general, Slovakia has a very good squad. If they get Juraj Slafkovský, even better. That will add a lot of interest to that pool in Moncton. But I think the Swedes are really good this year. I think Canada is obviously really good this year. So I say this all the time, every year, but it's worth repeating. If you have not gotten into the World Juniors, this is a very good year to do it. And not only are there a lot of great talent that's already been drafted, but you've got like 4, 5 players in the projected top 10 that are going to be representing their countries. So, and that's like Dvorsky, that's Edward Saleh with the Czechs. Dvorsky's with Slovakia, Saleh with the Czechs. Obviously, Bedard, Fantilli with Canada. You've got Ryan Leonard. You've got Charlie Stramel. We almost had Will Smith for USA. He's been sick and under the weather, and they just didn't think he could get back up into game speed in time. So they unfortunately cut him from the roster, but he's got 2 more chances. So, there's just a lot of talent on display.
Well, I love that you said that, and this might be the 5th time on this episode that I've mentioned our highest ratings we've ever had, podcast downloads and YouTube viewers, plus the television, was the World Juniors last summer in August. I like to say that it's because you and Sarina were on the show. I remind her of that regularly, and she likes that. So people love it, but we can always attract more. And there was a time when I was hanging around with the Coyotes owners. A friend of mine owned the team. He doesn't anymore. But they talked about Arizona attracting the World Juniors. And there was talk of an outdoor game too, but they would have liked to have had the World Juniors. What's the American landscape for World Junior host cities in the next several years that you know of?
Funny you mentioned that, because I actually just had a conversation with somebody about this last year, because obviously the challenge with Arizona in general, being a host city, or, the Phoenix, Tempe area, is that they didn't have 2 sheets. The challenge is having 2 sheets. In my opinion, that's why Minnesota hasn't hosted the World Juniors, because they don't have 2 NHL-sized rinks. The secondary rink would be Mariucci, but that's an Olympic sheet. So you can't have a tournament on 2 different sheets. Like, that's not fair. So that's been the big challenge there. They have so many other arenas in Minnesota, but none that are really of the quality and the capacity to host the World Juniors. But now that ASU has their arena, and this new arena that's going to be for the Coyotes in Tempe as well, definitely a possibility. I think Tampa is a great spot. Tampa has successfully hosted the NCAA Frozen Four a couple of times. It'll actually be there this year as well. And that has been super successful. So Tampa could co-host with a city like Estero and the rink that they have there. So I think we're going to get away from the Canadian border situation that we've been in the past couple years. That said, I would not be surprised to see Seattle in the mix, simply because it's a new NHL franchise. They do have several WHL rinks, whether that be Seattle or Everett. in the area that they could use as well. So I think that one has potential. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Boston back in the mix. I know the last time they hosted it was pretty disappointing in terms of attendance, but the landscape of the World Junior Championship has changed. And I think having it on the Eastern Seaboard, the same goes for Tampa. You might be able to get more European fans because they may not have to connect. Whereas if they're going to Seattle or Arizona, they would have to make a connection. Another one that could be of interest is Dallas. And that is partly because of how they hosted the World U18 World Championship a couple years ago with Frisco. And one that I would love to see is Michigan. I would love to see USA Hockey Arena and Little Caesars Arena host a game. So I think those would be the ones that I'd consider first and foremost.
I think we'd all like to see that for sure. I'm glad I asked. Give her a follow on Twitter, Julie Robenheimer, at Julie Robenheimer. You can listen to her on NHL Radio as well. Julie won't be there, but I'll be following your stuff. You're right, better than anybody. So thanks and Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too.
Our World Junior Special continues after this timeout on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your knee, leading to joint damage or even a permanent disability. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Geez, a long time going back, way back to the WHL on Shaw days, covering the Lethbridge Hurricanes in playoff series and in regular seasons. Just a treat. I think he's got a bright future, and I do believe Brent Kisio will be on a National Hockey League bench before long. And once he gets to the NHL, there's no looking back for Brent Kisio. Very high ceiling for him. So thanks to Brent for joining us. Thanks to Peter Loubardias for joining us, Sam Cosentino, Serena Taylor, of course, Rod, carrying us throughout the show, Julie Robenheimer joining us as well throughout the program. So big thanks. If you didn't get a chance to miss, or if you missed part of the show, you can go back on YouTube, find The Rod Pedersen Show, and you can find our World Junior special on YouTube. I want to recap some of the storylines. We got about 4 minutes, not a lot of time here, but as we get set for the tournament to kick off Boxing Day in Moncton and Halifax, remembering some of the things that we talked about throughout the show, that, this wasn't always a tournament that was supposed to be in Canada. We ended up with a really unique year with the summer tournament in Edmonton. And of course, Rod and the show was there and treated so well by Hockey Canada. This was actually supposed to be in Russia, but due to the Russian-Ukraine war, there was that bidding process, right? Saskatoon, Regina almost had the World Juniors. We thought strongly that it was going to come to the Prairies, but eventually Moncton and Halifax won out on that bid. There is no Russia in this tournament. So looking at the two pools, if we could for a second, Canada is in Group A with Sweden, Czechia, Germany, and Austria, and all those games will be played in Halifax. Group B is in Moncton, made up of the United States, Finland, Switzerland, Slovakia, and Latvia. So, look, we're not going to get the Canada-USA round-robin matchup, but you look at the teams that could come out of Group B and potentially meet Canada in a gold medal game or in a medal round, the USA or Finland. We don't know what the Slovaks are going to be like, but, great representation at the high end of that draft. USA will be better after a quarterfinal exit last year. Sweden, always great in the round robin, always good. They'll face Canada. So a lot of interesting scenarios to play out in a big hole without Russia at this tournament. You look at Canada's roster and other things to keep an eye on. We've talked so much about Adam Fantilli and Connor Bedard and Shane Wright. We haven't talked much about this defense. There are 3 Chicago Blackhawk prospects on this Team Canada defense. Kevin Korchinski of the Seattle Thunderbirds. Nolan Allen of Seattle as well. Both Chicago Blackhawks draft picks. Korchinski 7th overall in the most recent 2022 NHL draft. Nolan Allen was a first-round pick in the 2021 draft. And the third Chicago Blackhawks defenseman on that list. And why is his name slipping my mind, Clark? I'm trying to think of who the third... Ethan Del Mastro, thank you. The Mississauga in the Ontario Hockey League. Del Mastro, absolutely. He's an 03 defenseman. So there's so much depth in this back end. We don't talk about them enough. And if you listen to Brent Kisio up front, he's really excited about what Shane Wright can bring to this tournament. So we're so excited. We're so looking forward to this on Boxing Day. It all kicks off for Canada. at the World Juniors. So until then, want to thank everybody for tuning in here to the RP Show's World Junior Christmas special and our World Junior preview special. Once again, thanks to Julie Robenheimer, Peter Loubardias, Serena Taylor, Sam Cosentino, Brent Kisio, and all of Hockey Canada for their support. If you've missed any part of the show, you can watch it on YouTube. You can catch the airing of this show once again, all of our Christmas special episodes, and the RP Show back with our regularly scheduled programming in January. Until then, on behalf of everybody, I want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in 2023. Can you believe it? 2023 is around the corner already. All right, final 10 seconds. We'll say so long, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm Darren Dupont, and thanks for watching The Rod Pedersen Show here on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 99.1 WQEE.
Who has more fun than us?